watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Welcome to the ESPN Events Invitational. It's the final day of what has been a marvelous week of basketball here at Disney World. And we have two more games remaining here tonight. FAU was crowned champion this afternoon in this consolation game, a good one. Butler will take on Boise State. The winner gets to go back to campus with a winning record, 2-1 here this week. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. Welcome, everybody. We are glad you are with us. And what are you seeing in this game with the idea of going home 2-1 as opposed to 1-2?
And that's the biggest thing right there. I think we've been fortunate enough to have good games. I don't think this one will disappoint. Both of these teams are extremely well balanced, and they have a few guys who can really get it done. But for the most part, they balance each other out well. Oh my goodness, I cannot speak today. I hope this is not an indicator of how this game will go.
No. And we've got some star power in this game, starting with Pierre Brooks for Butler, coming off a career-high performance.
Well, Pierre Brooks is a guy who can get it done in a variety of ways. I mean, the man can shoot the three. He's built like he's supposed to be a defensive end, but he can really score the basketball, and he's actually more mobile than he looks. The Michigan State transfer, he's the perfect example of he just needed an opportunity and got one. And Michigan State only averaged 3 points, but last Friday, you saw what the kid could do. He is a talent, and he leads this Butler team. And for Boise State, it's more so of a whole team thing. They get it done. They share the ball well. Look at the balance scoring. The game against VCU started off a little rough. They were down early, but they got it together. They withstood the pressure, and Andrew Meadow honestly led the whole show.
And you know, the other part of it for the Broncos, they played defense, and they only turned the basketball over 8 times. So they took care of their business and got just enough offense, led by that young man, a freshman from California who really seems to have a good upside for this Mountain West Conference team. So the Broncos are 3-2. The Bulldogs are 4-2. Boise lost to Virginia Tech on Thursday night, 82-75. In that game, they committed 16 turnovers. So again, you cut your turnovers in half. You greatly increase your chances of winning, of course. And on the other side, Butler lost to FAU at 91-86 in a great game on Thursday, and then beat Penn State yesterday. And there is the head coach of the Bulldogs back at his alma mater for a third time, second time as head coach. This is second year and go round number 2.
That's interesting. You typically don't hear guys coming to the same school for a second time. 9th
year on a staff, and 3 of them have been as head coach on 2 different stints, more than 2 decades apart. Wow. You're right. You don't say that very often.
You don't hear that often.
Well, Thad, because of health reasons, had to take time off from basketball for a couple of years. He's doing great from what we understand. Feels like $1 million and has the energy of a young man now. He and I are the same age, so I can say that. And he is ready to go at his alma mater, trying to rebuild. And he, like so many of the teams here in Orlando this week and throughout college basketball, King, we've talked about, this is a complete overhaul at Butler once again this year. So a lot of moving parts, trying to meld them all together.
That's the name of the game, though, in college basketball. Who can melt them together, who can gel the quickest, is typically the teams we see that get off to the hottest starts.
Well, Jace Whiting in the starting lineup once again for Boise State. He had a good game yesterday. Here is Max Rice, who overcame foul trouble yesterday, rather on Friday, I should say. We were able to have our Saturday to ourselves. One of the nice things about these multi-team events early in the year, oftentimes you have games Thursday, Friday, get Saturday off, and that allows for the players and the staff to take a little break and for the announcers to enjoy Disney a little bit.
I love that right there by Topher. That'll be an interesting matchup between him and Degenhardt. They are both extremely similar. They can do it on the perimeter, and they can also do it posting up. We saw Delphi posting up right there.
Rice, the runner, around and out. Cam Martin on the offensive glass, had it taken away. Here come the Bulldogs in their blue uniforms. Broncos in their home white. Here is Brooks with his first attempt, and it's an air ball. Davis, Posh Alexander, kind of the tone setter on both ends of the floor for Butler. He has been one of the best defensive players in the Big East Conference for 3+ years. Of course, a transfer from St. John's University, where he, all 3 years, led the Big East in steals per game. This is DJ Davis. Off to the big man, Jalen Thomas, one of the longer tenured players at Butler. Alexander rises up and hits from the mid-range.
That's a good 1-2 dribble. Rise up over the defense. Stop and pop. That's a good sign. He got in foul trouble last game. They need him on this floor.
Yeah, averaging 11 points per game. He joined the 1,000-point club earlier this season against SEMO. Trying to find Degenhart inside. Instead, the skip pass. The three ball from the left side is off the mark by Abo. Back the other way come the Bulldogs. Taken away. Great defense by Chibuzo Abo.
Wow, typically one-on-one. Pierre Brooks is winning that battle, but Abo came up with the ball, and that's a good defensive stop in transition.
Max Rice from way downtown, no. And here's Posh Alexander out of Our Savior Lutheran High School in the Bronx. He is from Brooklyn, but played his high school ball in the Bronx. Minutes in, Boise State still looking for its first point. They've had some good looks. Abo, size advantage against Alexander, who is a great defender. Gets help and the block shot. Alexander comes away with the basketball after the denial by Jalen Thomas.
That's good backside help. You realize that your point guard is on an island with the mismatch. Good helps, backside help by Jalen Thomas.
Telford stepped out of bounds. Well, Telford is one of the many transfers for Thad Matta, the former Northeastern Husky. Just stepped on the end line on his drive to the bucket. Saved him a shot attempt because it was going to get blocked either way.
But that'll be a good matchup that we need to watch. Telford, Degenhart.
Inside of 10 on the timer. Martin takes a look at the other end of the court to see the time. Splits the defenders and lays it in. The Broncos are on the board.
Such a tough bucket right there. Butler forced Boise to catch it on the perimeter on a post-up, but Cam Martin found a way to slip it through.
Clean look from the wing for Brooks, and he's got his first three.
One thing about Butler, they surround the perimeter with shooters. So when you post up and send the double, they are good enough passers to make the right read.
Degenhart with a three ball of his own.
Great sign by Boise. He's only shooting 25 from the three. Hasn't really hit many this tournament. So for him to see one go in from deep is a really, really good sign from Leon Rice.
Yeah, King only his third made three of the young season. This game 6 for Boise State. And he comes up with a steal. Degenhart steps into a three. Telford quickly up ahead to Pierre Brooks, who lobs it up to Thomas. Lost his footing. And here comes Boise State with a numbers advantage if they hurry. Thomas late to get back after going down. Now he is set, steps out on Degenhart.
Early on, we're seeing the play a little bit sloppy.
Abo. Thomas tracks down the board. Our officials today are Walton, A.J. Desai, Keith Patterson in this third game of the day here at State Farm Fieldhouse. Alexander all the way to the bucket, and he rolls it over the rim for two.
The miscommunication from Boise right there, too easy. You set the ball screen, Posh Alexander has a clean lane with nobody stepping up.
9-5 Butler. Martin fouled on the way up. It goes against Thomas. Our first stoppage in about 4 minutes. We'll take a break. with the Bulldogs. On top 9-5. We are at the magical Disney World, including Cinderella's Castle. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Experience Kissimmee. Plan your trip to Kissimmee, the big, bold heart of Florida. And if you can get here to Kissimmee in the next 3 hours, you might get a chance to meet Blue. The marvelous mascot for Butler University Athletics is here and entertaining. I was able to meet Blue before the game and get a photo with him. Although we notice he has a right hind leg has been shaved. I guess he had surgery to repair a torn ACL not long. He's a gamer. He doesn't need time off. Let's go.
Yeah, it was crazy. I literally just learned that dogs can tear their ACL.
If you have an ACL, you can tear it.
I guess so, but that's an injury you really don't hear dogs having.
Well, Blue's a little more than your average dog, King.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, slow start to the game shooting the basketball for Boise State. They missed their first 6, now 2 of 10, and a chance to get some more points at the line with their 7th-year graduate student, Cam Martin, who was convinced by Leon Rice to come and play his final season of eligibility in Boise, Idaho. And part of the deal was Cam's younger brother, Alex, who was a freshman walk-on, that he could come and play. And Alex is less about basketball and more about his entrepreneurial life. He had 4 different businesses, King, that he owned as a high schooler. So basketball's nice, but kind of a offshoot of what he really wants to do.
Oh.
How about that? Just off the bench, Connor Turnbull throws it down.
That's a great back screen that got the lob. Posh Alexander throwing it literally almost perfect.
Well, depending on matchups, it seems like Turnbull's minutes vary, and this may be a matchup we may see more of number 22 in blue. Andre Screen has come into the game, the Bucknell grad transfer. He's defending Martin on the post. 3 to shoot. Max Rice forces it up and in.
That's a really, really difficult shot that he just threw up and it happened to go in. But Max Rice is a guy that this Boise State team really needs to turn it up because he has another gear in. His dad, the coach, basically said that we haven't seen his best basketball up to this far.
Rounded out on the corner jump shot by Landon Moore, but a chance for 3 now by the talented 7-foot 1-inch senior from Alexandria, Virginia, Andre Screen. And on Thomas, that is foul number 2 already, King.
Andre Screen has honestly been Butler's best big in this tournament. He's averaging 10 and 8, and that's part of the reason why. If you do not block him out, if you do not get good position, at 7'1", he has good enough hands to be able to locate the ball and finish through contact.
Check that. Looked at the wrong number 1. It's Omar Stanley, of course, the Boise State forward who picked up the personal. Yeah, Screen is more than just, you know, your typical 7-1 center playing defense blocking shots. He has a little more game to him. And in his 3 years at Bucknell, well, he averaged over 11 points per game last year. He's a legit threat inside.
You can throw it to him on the post and he can go get you a bucket. He can offensive rebound. He does so much for you to help you win. That's why Thad Matta loves this kid.
Dagenhart draws the double. Back out to Rice. He's being guarded by the freshman Finley Bizjack, who's come off the bench. Rice to the corner. Jump shot hit the side of the backboard by Anderson, and a run out. Brooks denied by Stanley. Fight for the ball, and Stanley's got it.
So we've seen that twice. Typically, like I said earlier, when Pierre Brooks is in transition, he's a freight train. You are not going to stop him, but that's 2 possessions where Boise has had good transition defense against him.
Rice, no. Well, Leon Rice has said, I think we could be elite defensively. And that could elevate the entire program from a good program to a great program.
Hey, his teams are always offensively strong, but defense is typically the question. And you're absolutely right. This team has the length and the size to be good defensively.
Screen can't find the range that time. Dagenhart dribbles up.
That's a tough matchup. Now, although it's about a 3-4 inch difference, Omar Stanley is a tank down low.
Outside, Stanley off the mark. And now Pierre Brooks the second, happy to walk it up. And this is Landon Moore, sophomore guard from Bloomington, Illinois, with it. Brooks uses the screen from screen, but shot it a little long. Degenhart, nobody picks him up, right to the basket for an easy two.
That's not acceptable in transition. To give up a wide open layup, nobody even slides over. I know that's a play on the highlight, on the replay on the screen, the film session, that Thad Matta will definitely point out.
Degenhart can put up points, averaging 13 on Thursday in the loss to Virginia Tech. He had 18 to lead the Broncos. Moore picks up the dribble, 7 to shoot. Brooks. And Roddy Anderson the third. Dribbles up for Boise.
Really tough possession right there from Butler. No paint touches. Nobody really tried to drive or create. Everything was outside the three-point line.
Midway through this first half. Stanley is fouled on the drive to the basket. And it goes against screen as we head to break.
One of the things I love the most about this Butler team is the way they share the ball, and Turnbull, more than a shooter, can fly a little bit too.
Well, as we've talked about, Thad Matta is Butler University through and through. Native of Hoopeston, Illinois, he was a 2-year starter at Butler, senior captain for the legendary head coach Barry Collier, longtime AD, who says he's going to retire in the spring. And here's some of the coaches in more recent times. And from the point Brad Stevens got there and took them to back-to-back national championship games, Butler has been a team to contend with now in the Big East.
They definitely have history right there. And Brad Stevens set the tone, and we've seen the heights that this program can go to. Definitely one of the better schools in the Big East.
And being able to build that from a mid-major background is really something. And so now that they're in a power conference, along with the fact that they have tremendous support, and oh, by the way, you've got Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that Coach Matta and those who follow him can't keep Butler in the national conversation consistently.
100%. And you see the players they have on their team. Michigan State transfer. I mean, they get good guys. They get good recruits every single year, good transfers now that we're in the era of transfer portals. And Finley Bizjack is another great recruit who I think is a Dallas Texas kid. I have some history with him, but I think he's going to be phenomenal in the next few years.
Yeah, he was an ESPN 100 guy last year, rated number 97. He kind of had a connection to this Butler staff while he was playing high school ball at Byron Nelson. Here's Anderson with the takeaway. Oh, awkward shot, couldn't get the roll, but he gets his own miss. Clean look from the corner, and it's an air ball. Andrew after it. Bizjack was the last to touch, but Bizjack had been recruited by Maurice Joseph, the former George Washington head coach, who when he was at the University of Richmond started recruiting Bizjack, and then when he wound up being hired by Thad Matta a couple of years ago, continued pursuit of this young man, and like you said, he's got a bright future.
He can definitely play. And me and him had a few chances to work out together back when he was about a sophomore or a junior, and I saw the intangibles right there. I saw the shot-making ability, how well he could really shoot it from deep. But he's really talented, and he has a great future for Thad Matta.
Anderson a little strong off the glass. Had to get it up there with the timer winding down. Davis gets rid of the basketball. Keene has it ripped away by his teammate Andrew Meadow. Lob inside, Degenhart. He'll try again in a crowd of blue shirts and score.
That's great awareness right there. Roddy Anderson locating the mismatch. Degenhart had him sealed, lob it up over the top. He missed the first one, got his rebound, good bucket.
His 7 points lead all scorers and ties the ball game at 14 with a whistle at the other end.
Boise foul number 5 on 18, his first.
So R.J. Keene is called for his first. Another one of your Texas guys, although the Woodlands is outside of Houston, right?
Yeah, the Woodlands is about 2.5 hours from Dallas.
Okay.
So not a Dallas guy. You know, Dallas and Houston. We even say, you know, people say DFW. I'm like, no, Dallas and Fort Worth are two separate things. You cannot combine the two.
So the outsiders are the ones who lump it all together, not you guys.
Yeah, it's not us. It's not us. We don't claim Fort Worth.
Even though the airport is DFW.
That's because I guess it's in the middle technically between Dallas and Fort Worth. So you have two big cities that can come to one, but no, we don't claim Fort Worth.
Gotcha. At the line, DJ Davis. We were noticing during practice yesterday and then during warm-ups today. At 6'1", 175, this transfer from UC Irvine is about the only Butler player who doesn't look like he could also play football if Butler had a football program.
Yeah, everybody on the floor for Butler right now definitely looks like they could play football and they could play at a high level.
Bowden Kapke, number 33, now defending. It's left behind by Anderson on a beautiful move.
That just shows some of the game that Roddy Anderson has. The in and out to the left-hand scoop to get it underneath the big's arm. Really, really high-level finish.
Davis had it taken away by Keene. Here comes Anderson again. Keene back to Stanley. Nicely done to the left hand. Beautiful offense to give the Broncos the lead.
Well, they got confused because they tried to avoid the mismatch, but both people came towards the ball on the pre-switch, which left Stanley wide open.
First lead of the ball game, thanks to the 10-2 run you see on your screen. That pass was deflected, so Alexander could go to the backcourt to retrieve it. Wide open. Kapke, no.
Have to locate the mismatch right there. Typically when they set pick and rolls, Butler always switches. So because they switch, there's always mismatches down low in the post. Boise has to exploit them.
5 on the shot clock. Stanley able to get it home.
He just has such good touch around the rim, and he plays extremely hard. You have to match his intensity every single time he's on the floor.
Tell you what, Keene's been active since coming off the bench for Boise. He's got another rebound and dribbles up.
I think that's his role on this team, to be the energy guy, the glue guy, to do the small things that help you win.
6:45 remaining in the half.
Right now, if you are Butler, you have to find a way to get Pierre Brooks going.
Here is Brooks. Thought about the three, instead protects the ball, drives right to the bucket. Looks like a fullback going right down the lane.
And that's what he does. When he gets downhill one-on-one, you're probably not going to stop him because he does an amazing job of being able to use his body to shield you off and create space.
Coming off a career high 26 points in the Friday game against Penn State. Degenhardt. He's into double figures after the three ball.
Like we said earlier, has not even shot many, but really hasn't made that many. But tonight, we've seen him make 2. Before this game, he's only made 3 on the year. Really, really good sign because they need him if they want to get to the heights that they want to get to.
Yeah, first team All Mountain West Conference last year. Nice finish by DJ Davis.
DJ Davis is typically known as a shooter, but he has enough game to put the ball on the floor and be really elusive.
He has scored 1,000 points in his career. Most of the heavy lifting came as an anteater at UC Irvine. Kapke was held, I believe, tracking down that loose ball by Omar Stanley.
Tyson Degenhardt. Boise State needs him. And I know Leon Rice is smiling because if this guy is making shots, they're in for a good night.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. This is the final day of the ESPN Events Invitational, and as we have talked about, 6 of the 8 teams in the field played in the NCAA tournament a year ago, and Three of the programs know all about being Cinderella. How about Butler making it to back-to-back Final Fours under Brad Stevens? And so the Bulldogs have made that step from Cinderella 12, 13, 14 years ago to where expectations in and around Indianapolis are much higher than they would have been. But there have been also Cinderellas in 2011. VCU, of course, with Shaka Smart coaching, came from virtually nowhere to the Final Four. Now they've stacked together a good 14, 15-year run of national relevance. And FAU, of course, last year still looking very much like a team that's not just going to be a Cinderella this year, ranked 19th in the country. And boy, how good were the Owls this afternoon to win the title of this tournament? Florida
Atlantic is good. They're legit. I mean, last year they went on that run. Everybody had the question, would they be able to repeat? Would they be able to do the same thing? And they maybe said it was a fluke. Man, it was not a fluke at all. Elijah Martin, we might see him in the NBA one day, and John L. Davis is just as good.
And you know, it had been quite a long time since the 1979 Penn Quakers, up until VCU, that we had a Cinderella make it all the way to the Final Four, but now it seems a little more common.
And I think that's because we're seeing older guys in college basketball, and a lot of these older teams, these quote-unquote Cinderella teams, have been there for 4 or 5 years, just like this man right here, Pasha Alexander, getting it done. His mid-range pull-up is what he specializes in, but he's extremely versatile. I love that he's a two-way player.
And by the way, King, on their last possession, Boise turned it over, their first turnover of the game. Now make it 2 in a row.
We talk about two-way. That's a perfect example right there. Pasha Alexander getting the steal, which led to Jamil Telford on the Euro step layup. You're not stopping him one-on-one. Pasha Alexander making it look easy, getting a bucket on one side, getting the steal on the other. Reward the big fella for running.
What's up? Coming up at halftime, Coach Greenberg, Malcolm Huckabee, myself, Dallin Cuff. We got a couple top 20 highlights going on around the country. We'll show you those. Also, FAU, they are legit, as King LaFleur said. We'll show you the highlight from that championship game earlier today. What are you seeing here?
Defensive battle right now. Neither team shooting the ball really well. Both teams below 20% from the three-point line. They're getting out after it, chasing guys off the three-point line. Who can make some three-point shots is obviously going to be a key in this game.
This is a huge game because one of these teams is going to go home 1-2. But more importantly, both of these teams have a chance to get a resume win if they're thinking about postseason play. This is a big game for both of these teams and for both of the leagues.
Great point. Back to you guys down in Orlando.
Thank you, fellas. And that was the tone I got from Thad Matta in practice yesterday, that defense was going to be what they needed to ride in this matchup today. He calls Pasha Alexander my kind of guy. He's tough and nasty. He has to turn Boise's guards over, and that's something Alexander has done to incredible effect. Again, he led the Big East each of his 3 years at St. John's in steals per game, and he's right in the mix again for a 4th straight year. Now is the head of the snake defensively for the Bulldogs. Here comes Alexander. He was so good as a freshman. He was the defensive player of the year. And then on the other end, dropping the dime for a chance for a 3-point play by Thomas.
He's just what you look for in a lead guard. He picks the ball up, he can turn you over, and he can also make plays like this. Good cut right there, the vision to be able to see that angle, to throw it where it needed to go. Not an easy bounce pass, especially on the run when there's a defender trailing you right there. Pasha Alexander is the textbook definition of high-level point guard.
And his former St. John's teammate, Omar Stanley, just picked up his 3rd foul. Roddy Anderson with the basketball at the point for the team pick number 2 in the Mountain West Conference this year, behind San Diego State. Dagenhart already has a 3 tonight. Backing his way down the lane. Everything but the finish. A nice putback by Mohamed Silla just into the game. First time we've seen the 5th year from Ivory Coast this week.
And it'll be interesting to see what Silla does, the level of production that they get from him right now, especially in a crucial point of this game.
Davis off the window. Nice looking shot by DJ Davis out of Moreno Valley, California.
I really like DJ Davis's game. He's small, but he's extremely crafty. Right there, the slow stop, almost Euro step kind of sort of finish, but got it done, kiss off the glass. It's a good bucket.
Yeah, he can fill it up. Went for 28 at San Diego State last November. That was when he was with UC Irvine. Abo. And a foul on the rebound. Silla and Thomas got tangled up. And I believe it goes against Mohamed Silla. Another one of the transfers in this game. He came from Detroit Mercy.
Look on the backside of this. I think that probably should have went the other way. It looked like Thomas's arm was in Silla's throat.
Silla's smiling nonetheless. Imagine they're having a little conversation about that.
Well, a little friendly conversation, huh?
Boy, that's just textbook. You have the double screen come up. Butler can just pick and choose and look for a teammate, but if you've got a shot, just take it.
But it's the elevation on the floater. He's only about 6 foot, but when he gets into the paint, he does a great job of rising up over you to finish and to get the shot off.
Anderson, finger roll in traffic.
I think we're seeing Roddy Anderson earn the trust of Leon Rice. He's doing what he did back at UC San Diego. They need his scoring, especially with Max Rice not being able to have the start to the season like they expected.
Telford rising up. Nothing but net. Under a minute to go in the half. Boise State down 6. Anderson misses the rim on that shot.
That's the area where he has to get better at. He has to be able to knock down open threes.
Alexander catches the back iron. Anderson now back the other way. About a 10-second difference between the game and shot clock. Will they go 2 for 1? Max Rice, with that thought in mind, perhaps, left it short on the front rim. And Thad Mata uses the timeout to set up what could be a final shot of this first half. Bulldogs up by a half a dozen. Tuesday, it is 2 featured SEC ACC challenges for men's college basketball on ESPN. Number 10, Miami will take on number 16, Kentucky at 7:30 Eastern, and then it's Clemson and number 17, Alabama. You can get all the action on the app as well. And this is a new partnership between these two conferences. The ACC Big Ten Challenge is no more. The ACC matches up with the SEC, and not just bragging rights, the opportunity for your league to say in November and December, we are better, and let the metrics show that going forward.
And such high-level teams. I mean, the matchups that we just saw, great games, great opponents. Get a notch on your resume.
Final 18 seconds of the half. Posh Alexander defended by Roddy Anderson.
I like what they're doing right now. 2 shooters in the corner, so you cannot help, or Posh Alexander will expose you and get the ball where it needs to go.
Jack and Davis in the corners. They go inside to screen. He lays it in to beat the buzzer. Well executed heading into the locker room by the Butler Bulldogs.
The floor was extremely spaced with Jack and Davis in both corners. You could not help. So when screens seals you in, it's automatically an easy bucket, one-on-one, and he's not going to miss.
Butler closes the half on a 13-4 run to try and seize control of things. Our halftime score 35-27. Send it back to the studio. Seth Greenberg, Malcolm Huckabee, and here is Dallin Cuff. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Welcome back to the ESPN Events Invitational. Game 3 on our Sunday is a good one. Boise State coming out of the break, though, down by 8. This is the largest lead of the night for either side, with the Bulldogs in control. And welcome, everybody. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. Posh Alexander is a big story, as he has been throughout the Big East Conference again this year. First 3 years at St. John's, but now at Butler, he is kind of the head of the snake for them.
He was in complete control in the first half, and this is really good for Butler because in the last game, he got into foul trouble, and I think that's a part of the reason why they struggled at times. But he's in complete control, and he is the ultimate floor general. Can really get to his pull-up, and he can really pass. That's the thing I love about this Butler team is they make the right read, and they make the right play. A lot of teams don't do that, but they all have really good vision. On the opposite side, Degenhardt's going to have a big second half, and he needs his counterparts, Abo, Rice, to be able to help him. And right there off the rip, Max Rice getting the bucket. They need him to be able to start up in the second half. Him and Abo in the first half combined for 2 points. They will not win this game without those two contributing.
Davis back out to Brooks. Coming off his career-high game, he has yet to get cooking tonight. Maybe that will get the junior from Detroit going.
And I'm just a huge fan of Pierre Brooks, taking advantage of his opportunity.
Well, you know, Pierre Brooks was basically the 10th guy for Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and now transferring to Thad Matta, he's got to be a much different role player.
Yeah, he goes from 10th guy to #1 option. I mean, think about this. 10th man on a Michigan State team. That's how loaded Michigan State was last year. Even though they didn't have the best of seasons, they still have a lot of talent. And he comes to Butler, he takes advantage of this moment, and he's showing what he can really do. And right there, Chebezi Abo, because of the high release, because he elevates. If you do not contest at the point of the ball, it will typically be a foul. Look at this. Right here, the hesitation. I don't even know if that was necessarily a foul.
But his foot was on the line, so it should be a 2. So A.J. Desai is over at the scorer's table checking on that. And again, watch the right foot. Seems to me pretty clearly on the line.
Yeah, it's on the line. That's a 2. Yeah, that's a 2.
And so Abo's going to have to earn the three-point play at the free throw line. Abo just his first 2 points of the ball game. 70% shooter on the year for this team that's been to the last 2 NCAA tournaments, only 9 times in the program history, but under Leon Rice now for 14 years, they have been annual contenders in the Mountain West. Brooks feeds the corner. Davis being hounded by Max Rice. Chase Whiting being chased by Alexander, who ran him right into the right hand of Jalen Thomas.
Yeah, and I don't know what Chase Whiting was thinking right there.
Whiting spotting up. Beautiful rotation on that 3-ball.
Yeah, that's the right decision. The one-on-one move that he tried to do over Thomas, that wasn't right, but right there, good shot.
So 2 of your starters, Abo and Whiting, were scoreless in the first half completely. They both have 3 points here in the first minute and a half of the second. And just like that, Boise State down 3 with the basketball. This is Cam Martin, a 3-time Division II All-American. Degenhardt, no. Thomas soars for the rebound. Alexander. There's that elevation you talk about, King. When he leaves his feet for that mid-range shot, it's hard for a defender to get up and contest.
He's not big by any means, but when he posts you up, when he gets into that paint area, his elevation is elite, which allows him to finish over guards a little bit bigger than him.
There's an old expression that I've always thought applied to people like Posh Alexander in basketball. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Dagenhart. Oh. And I guess that's also applicable for the Butler Bulldogs.
Good pass. That's good basketball.
Brooks for three. Yes! In the blink of an eye, the junior out of Frederick Douglass Academy in Detroit has double figures.
And that right there is the picture-perfect Butler basketball, what they stand for. In transition, the swing to the corner, the drift pass, and the one more. They do an amazing job of sharing the basketball and making the right play.
And just like that, it's back to an 8-point ball game. Bulldogs get a stop.
And that was one of the things I was most impressed with when I was watching the film against them in Penn State. The way that they continuously made the right play time and time again. A lot of teams do not do that.
Telford makes it a 10-point lead, the largest of the night. Well, this is a Butler team picked 10th in the Big East this year. But again, Thad Matta thinks they can be a lot better than that based on all the new faces. Rice thought about it for a moment. Martin looked like he could have been the last to touch. But it'll stay at this end with Boise State when we come back. Leon Rice, the 14th year head coach who turned 60 yesterday, looking for a birthday gift here tonight. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Here at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, covering a multitude of sports for all ages. Always alive with young athletes. We're happy to be here with the college basketball tournament. Speaking of which, Wednesday is another 2 featured ACC SEC challenges for men's hoops on ESPN. Number 7 Tennessee at number 14 North Carolina at 7:15 Eastern time. And then the 9th-ranked Duke Blue Devils will take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. The ESPN app will have all the action as well.
Man, that's loaded right there. Dalton Connect, Harrison Ingram, Tremont Mark, Tyrese Proctor. I mean, the matchups, and we hope that Tremont Mark is okay. Prayers up for him. I mean, after going through that scary fall.
We have not seen anything today as an update, but certainly we hope he's able to be back and doing his thing. Posh Alexander knocks it away from Meadow, and so Boise State will keep it. How about the company Posh Alexander keeps? He was just the 4th player in Big East history to win both Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. And you might recognize, King, the other 3 guys. If you have a guess, go ahead and give it to me. If not, they are 3 Naismith Hall of Famers. So both Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East.
Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player.
Gotta go back a ways.
Yeah, okay, we gotta go back. How far are we going back? 90s?
80s, 90s. Yeah, 80s and 90s.
I want to say Allen Iverson.
There's one.
Okay.
And again, this is the company Posh Alexander is keeping with his 2-way play in the Big East.
I want to say, I don't know. Ray Allen, no?
Nope. Good guess. Stick with Georgetown.
Patrick Ewing.
There's 2.
Third is before Patrick or after Patrick?
After Patrick. His son is on Georgetown now. Or no, I've got that wrong. It's not Dikembe, it's Alonzo. Alonzo Mourning was the other one.
Yeah, Alonzo.
Yeah, so Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, Allen Iverson, and Posh Alexander, the only 4 guys ever to win Defensive Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year in the Big East Conference.
Wow.
Pretty good company.
That's great company.
And here is Posh with the basketball.
I want to say Alonzo's son was in my class or the class afterwards. Wow, that's really good company.
Great body control by Pierre Brooks. Pierre Emmanuel Andre Brooks will turn 21 next month, now with 13 points.
Great body control to contort. And oh my goodness, that right there is elite one-on-one defense. We just talked about it, Doug. How good of a defender he is, the company that he keeps, and this right here is why. Pressure on the ball to take a charge. You really don't see too many guys who can stay in front of the basketball and take a charge in the front court. That's extremely hard to do.
It's a rare turnover tonight for Leon Rice's Broncos. It doesn't go down as a steal for Alexander, but it absolutely is a takeaway. Great feed. Love that set to find Andre's screen for the flush. Timeout, Broncos.
Well, that was all set up by Landon Moore's back screen. His back screen allowed Screen to be able to get wide open and have the defender on his back. This is good basketball, and these Butler Bulldogs are rolling, sharing the ball, having fun, and throwing it down.
It is indeed the most magical place on earth here at Disney. On Tuesday, we've got a pair of featured ACC SEC challenges for men's college basketball on ESPN. Number 10, Miami, taking on number 16, Kentucky at 7:30 Eastern. And then it's Clemson against number 17, Alabama. You can get all the action on the app as well. And we've reached a tipping point in our ball game here. Butler has rattled off the last 11 points to seize control. Boise over the last 4 minutes, King. No points, 0 for 7 shooting plus a couple of turnovers.
They need an answer right now, and I think that answer has to come from the veterans, the people who have been there before, in Abo and Rice. These two guys have to get going, or this game could be on the verge of getting ugly.
Well, Degenhart, first team all Mountain West Conference, had the ball for a moment. Here's Rice, the 6th-year senior you speak of. Omar Stanley trying to score over screen. Missed the rim altogether. Nice rebound by Jamil Telfort. Landon Moore into the game to play off the ball with Posh Alexander at the point. Telfort finds the big man coming across screen. They'll miss the layup.
That's a rare miss from screen down low. He's about 75 to 80% guaranteed bucket if he's that deep into the paint.
Pass a little too tall for Degenhart. He does well to save it. Back to Max Rice. Dangerous pass. Telfort read it beautifully.
That is great defense. Telfort noticed that his teammate was loading up to go help on the backside of the mismatch, so he slid over to take away the corner.
Great shot fake. And the shovel pass. Screen has it knocked out of bounds. Degenhart the last to touch. And so the Bulldogs will keep with 16 on the shot clock.
Take a look at this. Because he saw Posh one-on-one with Degenhart, he happened to slid over and play two. That is a great job of being able to play two on a backside where you're at a disadvantage.
Keene and Meadow have returned from the Boise State bench. Foul committed by Meadow. You know, he's just a first-year player going up against a 6'6", 240-pound man in Pierre Brooks II.
You know, one thing I think we do not give Jamil Telfort enough credit for is his ability to pass. He has had a lot of passes, not just in this game, but against Penn State, where you can really tell that the man has vision. And right there, the flex screen, one-on-one. Andrew Meadows has to learn. Sometimes you just have to give things up. If you're going to foul, you have to make sure they don't continue with the and one.
Telfort was third-team All-CAA last year at Northeastern. And he is somebody who at both ends of the floor. Telfort tells Thad Matta, I want to guard the best guy on the other team. Not everybody wants that assignment.
And he reminds me of a teammate of mine, Ishmael Wainwright. About 6'6", 6'7", really broad shoulders, really thick, but can really defend and do a lot. It can help you win. They honestly are literally identical.
Roddy Anderson. Degenhart.
You know, Doug Telfort, guys like him, Ishmael Wainwright right now is on year 3 in the NBA. Played 2 with the Suns, played 1 with the, that's the Trailblazers. But guys like Telford, guys who help you win, who want to do the little things like defend, who can be that 3-and-D type player, bring good attitudes, those are the guys that end up as your rotational players in the NBA.
Right, find a place. Those skills certainly translate at any level. Landon Moore lost his footing and traveled. (52-37), Butler up 15. They have grown what was an 8-point halftime lead. That modest club looking to take a 2-1 record in this event back home to Indianapolis.
Right now, Coach Rice is going to his bench because he's looking for answers. Abo and Rice are not getting it done. That's why he's bringing in Meadows and King, because he is in desperate search for an answer.
Roddy Anderson. And a foul on the rebound.
That's great defense right there for Moore. Hands up.
We'll head to break on this media timeout. Butler in full control over Boise State. It's an exciting lineup for women's hoops on ESPN Thursday. First up, #1 South Carolina will take on #18 North Carolina in Chapel Hill at 7 Eastern. And then #9 Virginia Tech facing #7 LSU in Baton Rouge, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Catch all the action on the app as well. That is some headline material right there in women's basketball.
I like that matchup. South Carolina being so dominant this year, playing against Deja Kelly, another Dallas, Texas product. And then Virginia Tech playing against the LSU team with all the drama.
A lot of drama.
Goodness gracious.
I get the sense that with that group, they are fine with the drama. They thrive in drama.
But listen, I'll tell you what, Michaela Williams is no drama. She is a bucket getter. She honestly might be the best player on that team.
Cam Martin back into the game for Boise State. He feeds the corner. Keene, everything but the bucket, rattled out on the redshirt sophomore out of Concordia Lutheran High School in Texas. Personal foul whistled against Jace Whiting. Fourth foul on the team, his first non-shooting foul, and so Telfort will inbound from the sideline. Bizjack and Turnbull into the game, as well as Moore with the ball. Bizjack dumps it off screen, gathers and lays it in.
That's a good play right there, and that's what I mean by Finley Bizjack being able to have a lot of potential right there. Off of the catch, off the rip drive, locate the open man, put it right where only screen can get it. That's an easy 2 points.
And where they don't need him to score so much this year, he is capable. 2,800 points in his high school career. Jace Whiting gets a 3 to go.
And the biggest thing for him right now is probably on the defensive side of things. Typically young guys, typically freshmen struggle with that. When I was a freshman, I struggled with the defensive side of things. Offensively, I was cool. I was fine. I could knock it down. But defensively, my head was continuously spinning. I didn't really know what was going on. I was constantly out of rotation.
Well, for you, and I'm guessing for a lot of these players who were so dominant in high school, either A, you didn't need to play defense, or B, you weren't asked to play defense, right?
You really didn't. I mean, you needed to play defense because you had that competitive edge. But you're right, when it comes to being able to play against 5 guys on the court who are just as good as you, you never really saw that except in the EYBL or in different all-star games. But to continuously be able to have the right play, get in help, play out of closeouts, be able to close out and be able to slide your feet afterwards, that's not something that was taught all the time to us.
Pierre Brooks blocked by Martin, and then Martin fouled him on the second attempt. That'll send Brooks to the free throw line to shoot 2. The Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan in 2021. He's coach's kid, Pierre Sr., was his head coach at Frederick Douglass Academy. And I always think you can tell coaches' kids by the way they play, by the way they carry themselves, by the way they typically communicate with the officials. And everything pointing up for this young man who's off to a terrific start to his junior year.
And you can tell he just has that maturity to him. He's never really rattled. You never really see him have any facial expressions as far as getting upset with referees, getting upset with the coach. He's just about his business.
A couple of free throws for Brooks, and the lead is back to 16. Martin got Screen on his back, and then Screen commits the foul.
Cam Martin might have one of the best pump fakes in all of college basketball. I have seen him get people time and time again with this pump fake right here. It looks so realistic, but he also does a great job of when he gets to where he wants to go. He takes his time, doesn't rush, because he plays underneath the rim, which he has to be patient down low to get the more athletic guys off of their feet.
Nice round of applause for Screen, who goes out with those 3 personals. And there's a look at Tyson Dagenhart without that face mask protecting. Getting a breather on the bench. Bad pass. Meadow got a hand on it, and it forces the turnover. By the time Turnbull gathered, he was standing on the sideline. And now Coach Mata sends his point guard back in, Josh Alexander, to take the place of Landon Moore. DJ Davis will send Finley Bizjack to the bench.
And you never want to catch the ball that deep into the corner, because nothing good comes from that when you're that deep.
On a switch, huge size advantage for Martin. He passes out of it to Meadow, who had it blocked by Turnbull. Great closeout on the jump shot.
And Meadow has kind of a slower release, and right there, didn't have enough space as he thought he did.
Alexander. Now Davis sizing up the defender. Winding down on the 9-minute mark here in the second half of this consolation game here at Disney. With 5 on the shot clock. Davis for 3. Here comes Boise State. Here comes Andrew Meadow. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2. He was hammered by Turnbull. He picks up his first.
Well, at first glance, it looked like Turnbull did a great job of going vertical. But take a look right here. Honestly, that might have been more so an offensive foul, because the elbow went up and extended right there. That probably could have been an offensive foul, because he jumped into him with the elbow, and Turnbull did a great job of staying vertical and not putting his hands down.
First point tonight for Andrew Meadow, who scored 12 against VCU on Friday. 6'7" freshman from Santa Clarita, California. Alexander called for a screen, but his teammate didn't see him call for it. Now Brooks keeps the dribble. And again, there is a grown man going against a freshman, able to get in the lane and do what he wants.
That's such a tough finish. I mean, fade away with the left. Your momentum is taking you away from the basket, but you're somehow able to still score with the left. To be able to score with both hands when you get inside the paint. High-level finish.
Martin spots up. Caught the glass first, never a good sign. Brooks wide open. That's a beautiful stroke. You got to account for number 21 in blue.
And right now, Boise is just not on the same page. There's no way you leave a guy like Brooks wide open in transition.
So after putting up a career-high 26 on Friday against Penn State, Brooks is getting closer here tonight. That's 23 and counting for Pierre Brooks II.
Pierre Brooks, 26 points last game, and it's no different this game. You get buckets once, you can get them all the time.
In the first half, Pierre Brooks had just 5 points. He's got 18 and counting here in the second.
You know, Doug, I really think this is going to be a breakout year for Pierre Brooks because the kid is good. He is never sped up. He's always under control. Does a great job using his body. He takes what the defense gives to him, and he never really forces anything. He plays within his own game, and he knows his game so well that a lot of times he's extremely efficient.
Well, as you can see, he is closing in on helping lead Butler to a successful week here at Disney. And again, it's if you can't be the one team that goes home with the trophy and a 3-0 record, you just want to go 2-1. And so it doesn't matter so much if you finish in second place, third place, fourth place, as long as you're 2-1 and have a winning record and can build from here. Alexander missed the runner. Degenhart back in the game. Got to work on Thomas. The second defender comes. Strong move along the baseline by Abo, plus the foul. It's been a quiet night for Chibuzo Abo.
This is a great drive right here. Attack the closeout. Posh Alexander thought he had the backside help on the baseline, but he had nobody right there. That's just a good and one from Abo, and Abo needs this.
Full court pressure by the Broncos after the made free throw. Alexander. Telfort turns and fades away on the baseline and says the defender's just a little too small.
Well, notice where his eyes went. His eyes were automatically thinking pass, but because nobody sent the double. He was waiting for it so he can be able to distribute, but nobody sent it. Tough turnaround fadeaway.
Alexander clears the Rice miss. Quickly up ahead, trying to find Thomas. Pass was deflected to Degenhart. Nice bounce pass to Anderson. Boise State got a good look, but Stanley could not convert. And then the foul. That's on Max Rice, number 1 on the 6th-year senior out of Bishop Kelly High School there in Boise. He grew up initially as a big Gonzaga fan, of course, because his dad was a longtime assistant for Mark Few, but it's been all about the Broncos for now the last 14 years. Shooting a 1-and-1, Jalen Thomas. That is his first miss from the line this season. Does Boise State have another run in them? Down 17 with the ball, over 6 minutes to go. Now Abo had Degenhart with the shorter defender fronting the post, and he still couldn't deliver the pass over the top.
Butler is doing an amazing job of fronting the post. When they have smaller guards mismatch onto the bigger fours of Boise, they're doing a great job fronting it and making it extremely tough. Look at this right here. DJ Davis is making it tough to get it over, and you have the backside help. Ooh.
Tell you what, Pierre Brooks putting together another terrific game, now to 25 points.
Great patience right there. The jump stop to get the big man of Stanley off of his feet.
Well, our third place game will follow this one to close out the 2023 ESPN Events Invitational. Should be a good one. 12th ranked Texas A&M against Iowa State. We don't know if the Aggies are going to be at full strength. Yet to receive word on a couple of their starters who did not play in the second half of their semifinal loss. Thomas squaring up, now faces up over Stanley. And number one gets the rebound. Omar Stanley, the former St. John's Red Storm. It'll stay at this end.
Defense of Butler is suffocating Boise, and Boise has no answers right now. They cannot get anything going, and Coach Rice once again going to his bench, bringing in Keene and bringing in Whiting to replace Rice and Abo, who just can't get it going tonight.
And again, it's Posh Alexander, number 5 in blue, sets the tone. He's got a couple of steals in this game, which is a little over his average, just about his career average. Shot clock violation, as Whiting apparently did not recognize. There's that defense you're talking about.
And right now you can tell they are the more aggressive team as far as looking to attack. The way that they're getting up in the ball, pressuring, keeping them outside the three-point line, not allowing good entry passes to the post.
And you know, Butler has not been to the NCAA tournament in what seems like an eternity. 2018 was the last time, and I'm not so sure this team is on that trajectory, but I'll tell you what, King, they are trending in the right direction.
Well, this team definitely has pieces. When you have a guy like Posh Alexander that leads you defensively, I think you're always in ball games and you have a good chance to win some games.
Dagenhart.
And the Big East is no joke, Doug.
Right.
The Big East is no joke when you look at some of those older veteran teams such as Marquette or Villanova. But I think this Butler team is good enough to be able to make some noise.
I'd say the Big East has 3 legitimate threats to make the Final Four this year, and that's not counting your Villanova. And it is a deep, talented league once again. Thomas off the feed from Alexander, like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. And Villanova's good. And the thing I like about Villanova is that they're old. I mean, those guys are old. They're veterans. You look at Justin Moore, Eric Dixon, Tyler Burton. These guys have been in school for almost 5 years, probably, some of them.
Omar Stanley, we would be remiss if we don't mention UConn while we're talking about this, the defending champs.
UConn might look the best out of everybody in the country right now.
But between Creighton, Marquette, and UConn, I think they are all legit Final Four contenders. So making a move up the ranks in the Big East is obviously no easy task. But again, Butler seems to be trending in the right way. And, you know, Thad Matta, throughout his 20-plus years as a head coach, has averaged 25 wins a year. So he knows what winning looks like.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's not new to this.
He took Ohio State to a couple of Final Fours, of course.
Thad Matta's a legend. I mean, he's one of the better coaches, not just in the Big East, but in college basketball.
Talking to Coach Matta yesterday about his father, Jim, who passed away a couple of years ago. He was his high school football coach as a 9th grader and then served as his high school's athletic director. And I said, when you're a coach's kid, do you always hear your father's voice coming out? Is it in your head all the time? He said, yeah, I hear my dad. Whiting takes Davis off the bounce, and you might count that basket. Looks like they will. It's a goaltend plus the foul, so a chance for a 3-point play from the foul line when we come back. Butler cruising to a second win here this week at Disney. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, the premier site for youth sports. See our upcoming events at disneysports.com. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. Back inside State Farm Fieldhouse, and what a second half it has been. A near perfect second half for Pierre Brooks II. 7 of 8 shooting. He has made all 3 of his three-point attempts, made all 3 of his free throws, and he is outdoing the Broncos all by himself.
Man, Pierre Brooks is going to have a breakout year, and he is going to be one of the tougher matchups in the Big East. I mean, when you look at him, he's a guard. He's about 6'5", but he's about 235, probably almost 240. He's such a mismatch problem for smaller guards, and if you put somebody bigger on him, he's mobile enough to be able to drive by you and to break you down because he has a little bit of wiggle to his game. He's going to be a tougher matchup in the Big East.
Well, it appears his career high set Friday will stand for at least another day. He put 26 on Penn State. He's got 25 and is on the bench with 1:50 to go. But I tell you what, he's quite likely going to be the Big East Player of the Week when that award comes out, because he has had a fabulous time here in Florida this week. Six to shoot. Here goes Telfort to the basket. Screen got a hand on the rebound, but Whiting comes away with it. R.J. Keene got the stroke like his old man used to have. His father, Richard, played in the mid-90s at Illinois, a 4-year starter, scored 1,100 points. He was a big-time shooter, and his son's got a nice stroke as well.
Yeah, I like Keene. I like Meadows. The one thing that I think Leon Rice can walk away from this weekend and say is that he has a bright future in those two guys. I mean, they're confident. They look in the game. As soon as every single time they come into the game, they're looking to score. They're looking to be aggressive. They're trying to make things happen.
And now Cade Rice, the youngest son of head coach Leon Rice, into the game for the first time today. He's defending the ball. And he allows the driving bucket by Finley Bizjack. He gets his first 2 points tonight.
It's a great take right there. Keep the defender on your hip. Go finish with the left hand.
Inside to Kobe Young, just into the game. He's got his first 2 points. Kobe Young is a guy who's got a big upside, a terrific athlete. He held Division I football offers as a wide receiver, but instead wanted to play hoops at Boise. He defends the ball. The defender went down, Cade Rice. And he is called for the tripping foul. It's a tough assignment trying to stay in front of Jamil Telfort.
Telfort is similar to what we see in Brooks. At that 6'7", 6'6" range, really strong, very mobile, very athletic. Doesn't have as much wiggle as Brooks does off the bounce, but he's a straight line driver. He's a better player down there in the post when he posts up, but he has game.
Wednesday, it's another 2 featured ACC SEC challenges for men's college basketball on ESPN. Number 7 Tennessee, 14th ranked North Carolina. Get things started at 7:15 Eastern, followed by Duke and Arkansas, top 20 showdown. That is Wednesday. You can also see it on the ESPN app. We'll have you covered with that action as well. Jamil Telfort, one of 9 children. He's got 8 brothers and sisters, including a twin sister named Jael. Keene. Ooh.
I mean, look, at this point, you might as well get him up, right?
Why not? And that will likely be the final shot of the ball game. Butler secures it with the shot clock off. And now the Butler bench says, hold on to the basketball, and let's get out of here with a win. Coach Rice, Coach Mata exchanging pleasantries after a hard-fought game, but one that Butler sees control with a 14-0 run in the second half.
And it all started on the defensive side of things, and led by Posh Alexander. His intensity, the way he heated up the ball and was keeping everything in front of them, their intensity on the defensive side is what got them this lead and got them this win.
Now let's take a look at tonight's shot of the game, brought to you by Novavax. And King, you know where we're going with this. It's got to be Pierre Brooks.
And nobody else but the man of the hour. And I cannot believe they let him get this wide open. I can't believe they lost him in transition. Out of everybody on this Butler team, he's the one guy that you have to find. But nonetheless, being wide open, you still have to knock it down. And that's what he did time and time again. He knocks shots down. He comes out of this tournament with a big confidence boost.
And with that, Butler improves to 5-2 after picking up a pair of wins. And a fine showing at the ESPN Events Invitational. They are now off until taking on Texas Tech back in Indianapolis on the 30th. But a fine showing. Boise State drops to 3-3 after a 70-56 loss. For King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. So long for now. We send it back to the studios to Coach Malcolm and Dallin.